This, I feel, is probably one of the most helpful skills that I can teach my students because they need it. They need it in the classroom. They're going to need it when they go to college. They're going to need it at work. It is a very, very important social and life skill. Hello, hello, YouTube fam. It's Rebecca Robbins from Mindshaper SLP, where we create fruitful and fulfilling lives for autistic individuals and their families. And we are continuing our conversation on social communication this month in honor of Buddy Group enrollment season. And just real quick, let me just tell you a little bit about Buddy Group. It is my social group program for ages 8 through 20s. We have 2 levels of classes. If you live in New York and PA, we have virtual classes available for all residents of those states, and we have in-person classes available in Goshen, New York. It is a really highly successful program. Enrollment is only open until the end of this month, June 30th, and classes start the week of July 1st and run for 8 weeks through the summer. So go ahead and strengthen your child's social communication skills in an environment where they're going to be surrounded by peers and feel accepted just for who they are, and they're going to have a blast while doing it. Go to buddygrouprocks.com to find out more about that. Today, what we're going to talk about is one of the little tricks I use in my group to help my students learn how to collaborate, problem solve, and negotiate with each other. Now, if you think about a school situation or a college situation or a work situation, there might be a lot of group projects. I know that in the educational standards, there's a lot of language in there about collaborating and sharing ideas with a group. And that could be something that's really challenging for some neurodivergent individuals or autistic students. I work on that in our buddy group program with just embedding it into the way that we structure our activities. One of my favorite ways to do this is to have my students as a group participate in a game that's traditionally a 2-person game. But I divided the group into teams, and they have to work together as one unit to play the 1-person player team, or the other team as one player. One of my favorite ways to do this, I use a website called Bamboozle. I will link that as a resource to the description, but it's BAAMBOOZLE.com. And it's really cool. They have like all these different games that you can do, and we like to do the trivia style game. It kind of looks like a Jeopardy board. We divide the group into 2 teams, and then I say, okay, team 1, work together to figure out what you want your team name to be. And they have to practice presenting suggestions, either protesting against the suggestion in a calm, polite way, or agreeing with the peer's suggestion, and negotiating and problem solve what the group wants the name to be. And every single person in that group has to agree upon it. So that's the first step. They have to agree upon the name. Then as we get into the game, it's like a whole board with an array of numbers. They have to work together as a team to choose which number they want. And then to answer the question, they have to work together as a group, and all of them have to agree on what the answer will be. And this works so well. A lot of times they'll just agree with each other, especially when it comes to picking a number. I don't know, maybe you have this experience with your child, but a lot of my students like to be in control. They like to be the one calling the shots. And sometimes they will tell others how it's going to be rather than asking others how it's going to be. In these groups, there tends to be a student, sometimes a student or two, who are kind of more outspoken than the rest, a little more verbal than the rest, and they might be kind of driving the ship. And that's okay. That's where I come in, and I make sure that we let the students that take a little more processing time or tend to just be a little bit quieter by nature, I will pop in every once in a while and remind them to let them have a choice from time to time. But sometimes the students will get in a situation where one will say, let's do number 2. I want to do number 9. Okay, but let's do number 2. Okay, but I really want to do number 9. And rather than jumping in and helping them figure it out, I sit back and I let them figure it out. And if it seems like they're kind of stuck and not going anywhere, I might say something like, it sounds like you guys have a problem about agreeing which number to choose. I wonder how you could solve that. And I've taught them certain strategies over time of how they can negotiate problems like this in a fair way. And they're strategies that we've used out on the recess yard for years, right? Rock, paper, scissors. Pick a number between 1 to 10. Sometimes they just say, okay, how about I pick the number this time and you pick the number next time? And the other student will say, okay. And then what I will do as the adult facilitating things, I'll say, that was such a great job being flexible. Thank you so much for letting your friend go first. And now you're going to get your choice next time. That really was flexible of you. And I'm giving very specific feedback as to what happened there, which is important because that is demonstrating to them and highlighting to them what trait they just exhibited and how flexibility helps them in a social dynamic. And what I find, especially over the years where the students in the group over the course of a semester, they like each other. They want each other to be happy. They're not trying to piss each other off, for lack of a better term. They are willing to acquiesce at times when maybe they would have dug in their heels and said, no, this is my choice and I want to do this. It's so beautiful to see, especially if I have had a student who traditionally, especially when they first entered the program, really needed to have their way most of the time. And if they didn't get their way, they would really have an emotionally tough time accepting that. The more that you practice any skill, and this is no different, the more that I allow my students the opportunity to practice these problem solving skills and these collaboration skills and these negotiating skills with each other, the better they get at it, the better they are at accepting when someone else gets to pick it. And then sometimes the student that was the most like, I need to get my way every time, sometimes they're the ones that suggest the other person goes first, and it will just blow my mind. But it's by facilitating opportunities and as the adult, as I'm sure if you've been watching my videos, this is not going to come as a surprise to you what I'm about to say, not jumping in to fix and help too quickly. I step back and I let them figure it out. Another way I do this is I let the group decide, what game are we going to play today, guys? And someone might say, oh, can we play two truths and a lie? Okay, let's see if the group wants to. And then that person has to say, hey, Johnny, do you want to play two truths and a lie today? No, I was hoping that we could play 20 questions. Oh, okay. I said, okay, well, let's see what everybody else likes. And so I will facilitate and guide the discussion as needed to keep it from going off the rails, of course, but I always put it back into the students' hands so that they are the ones driving the ship. Am I using mixed metaphors? Off the rails, driving the ship. You guys, you get the point. We're putting the reins. Now we're in a horse and a cart. It's fine. But we're putting the students in control of the social dynamic and the social interaction. And guess what? They are much more likely to listen to their friend and want to do what their friend wants to do when it comes from their peer than when it comes from me as their teacher or when it comes from you as a parent. It is a really, really important skill to work on. I do this with picking the game. And then once the whole group has decided upon a game, and the same thing, if we're in a stalemate of some part of the group wants to play one game and another part of the group wants to play a different game, okay, it sounds like we have a problem. I wonder how we should solve it. And then again, they're making suggestions. Rebecca, you think of a number between 1 to 10. Okay, we can do, does that work for everybody? Yep. Okay, great. We'll do that. Let's do rock, paper, scissors. Okay. And so they present the solution. And so they're much more likely to be okay with the solution. Then once all of that is ironed out, I let them decide who's going to go first. Right? Everybody wants to go first. And if you have a child that likes to be the one picking the thing, likes to win, likes to go first, you might imagine, I can maybe hear yourself like saying like, oh God, my child would hate that. But That's why we need to practice it. And your child can get better at this skill. I promise you, I have worked on it with so many children and it works. So I let them decide who goes first. And sometimes they'll decide the whole order for me, which is great. It's totally fine. The more that they're in control of how things go, that means I'm doing my job well. The less that they need me to be successful in a social interaction, the better off they're going to be when we hit end call or say goodbye to them when they leave group. And we do this in our level 1 and our level 2 classes. Our level 1 classes will need a much more structured approach to doing this and a much more structured activity than my level 2 students, just because my level 2 students have better conversational skills as a baseline. And my level 1 students, they need more support to negotiate and have a conversational reciprocal interaction. We keep it very structured, very clear as to what they have to do, but they can do it too. They can do it too. This, I feel like, is probably one of the most helpful skills that I can teach my students in buddy group because they need it. They need it in the classroom. They're going to need it when they go to college and have to work together in groups. They're going to need it at work. If they have to work together with colleagues on a group presentation or with other employees to get something done that they were assigned to do in the store, they need to be able to problem solve, collaborate, and negotiate with their peers. It is a very, very important social and life skill. And this is a way that you can practice it in a natural context so that it will generalize. Who knows? Maybe you'll even see them better able to negotiate with their brother or sister after practicing with this for some time now. Wouldn't that be nice if you didn't have to play referee between your children as much because your children have become better problem solvers and negotiators? You have to kind of teach them the skills like, okay, we have a conflict. We have a problem. You both want different things. How can we solve it? And give them concrete ways that they can use to decide it in a fair way. So you can do this with your children at home. You can help your child do this if they have friends over. You can maybe set up a social scenario where they're participating in a game as a group together. Let me know in the comments below what questions you have about how to make this work for your child. And as always, please like, subscribe to my channel, share this with all of your friends, and don't forget to check out Buddy Group. Enrollment closes June 30th. We start our classes the week of July 1st, and I hope to see you there, buddygrouprocks.com. And that's it for today, folks. I'll see you soon. Bye.